Okay, so welcome back to the main section of today's podcast. As previously said, I am joined by the wonderful Evolution. Hello, Evolution.
Hey, how you doing? Good to be back,
I'm
man.
good, thank you. No, I'm good, thank you. No, it's wonderful to have you back as well. We've got plenty to talk about. I am going to say, because we don't have every episode on camera, and obviously not the whole episode won't be put out on video. Don't worry, we will only have some snippets that go out there. But if in those snippets I am looking at my phone, just so people know at home, I'm not being rude to Evolution. My notes are contained on my phone, so that is where I'm looking. So if people notice me looking away, I'm looking at my notes. That's all. But yes, how are you, Evolution, today?
Yeah, I'm brilliant. I mean, new music's on the way. I've got a new single November 29th. I've released my 8th album. I've got my 9th on the way. This time it's going to be on CD. It's a crazy whirlwind of how much energy and effort that I personally put into the album, and people that I don't know and who have helped me get to the point with the new album. I'm looking at you, Fumes, mate. If you're watching this, bingo, you've
Yeah.
struck gold.
Fumes is going to get a lot of mentions today. I've got the feeling of that with us two both being in a conversation together.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Now, so a lot has happened since we last spoke, and I was saying in my intro, because I've already pre-recorded that. It's not even since we last spoke. It's kind of in the last 6 months. It's been a very much, as you say, quite whirlwind. Can you just let us know where we're kind of tuning into you from? Where are you right now? Just in general.
So I'm in the UK. I'm from a small town called Northampton. It's near Milton Keynes, Bletchley, that sort of area.
Yeah.
I'm literally in the centre of Northampton, so the music scene here is pretty lively.
Yeah.
There's loads of up and coming rappers, artists, singers, R&B singers, producers. I just kind of do everything myself because I've learned to do it. Like, I went to college, I went to university, and now even when I was in college and uni, I was still in my infancy when I released my first mixtape or album, what you want to call it.
Yeah.
And now that we're almost an album 9, it's like, well, 5 years ago, 90-year-old me released Infectious Dreams, and now we're at Grime Heart I Love. And I feel like I've grown as an artist. I'm more comfortable in my music and sharing stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about where you are currently, because obviously you are making more of a name for yourself online, but from what I hear and gather through just looking on your social media and everything like that, you're making a name for yourself locally as well, which is something that for a lot of independent artists can be quite hard to do, especially if they're not from a major city like London or Manchester, etc. So kudos to yourself for that. Is there anything you've done in particular that you can just pass off as advice for other artists listening as well?
I guess consistency is key. You're going to run into so many haters, whether they're, local or they're close to you, or, friends of friends, or haters of haters, whatever the hate may be. You just got to learn not to let it get to you. I know sometimes it can, because it's got to me loads of times in the past, but you just got to try to beat the hate, get to a point where you've like, you know what? This is what I want to do. I know it's amazing. I know what I'm putting out. The content I'm publishing is amazing. It's sick. It's clean. You just got to keep grinding at it. I released a video the other day, and I was calculating like the amount of views / streams I had. And I think it equated to about 45k. I'm like, that's mental. Like, I know some people independently have done millions upon millions, but 45k with no label, barely any promotion apart from the stuff that I do, and obviously the people that share my stuff. You just got to keep at it, man. That's the best advice I can give you.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it is impressive, the numbers that you're pulling in as well, considering that it is all independently done. It's all it's all you plus your kind of helpers, guiders, or people around you, that those who are there to support, your supporters, I guess is probably the right word. It's yourself and them, and that's it's always really impressive. Before we get into any of the last 6 months, I just want to do a quick brief overview for people who haven't listened to the previous episode, because obviously we've grown so much since then as a podcast. So let's start off with first just where does the love of music come from for you, and who are the influences that you find in music, like to give people a general sort of gist and rough idea of your sound and genre and the genre you're in?
Yeah, I think my love for music stemmed from me being such a creative person when I was in like school. So like, you know, the imagination of a young child, you know, is so wild and so vivid.
Yeah,
I used to believe I could be anything. Like I used to like Spider-Man, I used to like Toy Story, so I used to be Buzz, I used to pretend to
yeah,
be Ben 10 on the school playground. And then I think as I grew older, I like to make things. I like to use my hands. I like to be hands-on with stuff. So when I was in secondary school, I did like catering, I did like drama, and
yeah,
I did like the more creative side of things. But it wasn't until I got to college that I really started to, you know, be like, right, this is where I want to be. Let's see what we can do. You know, I was pumping out beats and, you know, stuff before then. And
yeah,
then when I was 17, I started like my second year of college, but I was starting on the first level of the music course. And fast forward near enough 2-3 years into the future, like I said, I released Infectious Dreams. But yeah, I think that my love for music comes from just listening to like all the trance stuff as a kid. And you know, influence such as example Faithless, Post Malone, like I said, FUMEZ, just people that are like minded like me that have a creative streak in them. That's what inspires me to keep going
yeah.
and keep getting better. But yeah, I just feel like music to me is a form of art, it's a form of therapy. I find myself relaxing when I'm writing a song. Obviously, it's different when you write it, it's different to when you record it because you've got to put the energy in,
Yeah.
which is, you know, it depends how you feel on the day. I've recently gone through like a massive, massive writer's block, and I'm not being able to write anything decent. But I've just completed. Well, I'll say completed. I've just recorded a new track. It might appear on the album. I don't know. It might be a case of obviously like you've got like the standard edition, and then you'll get like one bonus
Yeah.
track on streaming services, and then if a recent deluxe, and
Yeah.
that's yet to be seen. But the song that I've just recorded, oh my god, when I tell you it slaps harder than you hit your sister with that toy that went full whack, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the wrong analogy to use, but that's the analogy I'm going with.
I understand what you're saying though, because it was
Yeah,
I think it was Ricky Gervais who said music's the ultimate art, and the reason why he says that is because if you look at film, you're not getting necessarily the director's emotion coming through there because it has to service everything that's going on in the film as well. You know, if he's feeling sad because he's going through a divorce, let's say, he might be making an action film. That's not really going to match up, right? So you don't
exactly.
always see
Yeah,
it. Same with painting as well, with art in terms of like painting and that kind. Because if they are someone who's painting a landscape, it might not, you know. But with music, there's no way a song cannot have the emotion of the songwriter in there. Whether they're taking someone else's emotion and putting it back out there, or they're using their own. That emotion that they're tuning into is always there. And
yeah,
I think that's what makes it
100%.
so infectious in a lot of ways.
I see what we
We
did there.
yeah, we need to get on though
Yeah,
to
I know.
the music. I think is really
Yeah,
important here.
100%.
Now, I think best to go chronologically with this, with what's happened in the last 6 months.
Yeah,
And I think to describe your sound myself, and tell me if you disagree, because I asked this question to you last time, so I think I know. I think you answered along the lines of electronic R&B and rap, not a genre, a style of performing, but rap
yeah,
kind of can be used as it, really, let's be honest.
yeah,
So for people who don't know, that's the general sound. Obviously it is independent to yourself as well. There's a lot of independent flourish in your music, and it's I find it really quite hard to pin down your music, if I'm going to be honest, because it's just simply because it doesn't fit anything I also know, because it is so unique to you.
yeah.
Let's get on to the album. So this is where I'm going to get my phone up for my notes, because I've made
Yeah,
loads of notes on the
100%.
album. This came out this year, so we are talking within 11 months at least. I think it came out in June-ish time
Yeah.
or July around there. Yeah. So it is
June
definitely,
7th.
yeah, it definitely is the last 6 months that there's been new music coming out. So you've come off the back of Mistakes and Perfume, which, if I remember rightly, was a very personal album, wasn't it, for yourself?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yes. I get the feeling that this album, Words That Don't Exist, I don't know if it is or not, but it feels more personal. Now, whether you're tapping into emotion that's elsewhere, I don't know, but it just feels really personal. Do you want to tell us more about how the album came to be?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, when I was when finishing up Mistakes and Perfume, I was doing a lot of like I was producing a lot of stuff that didn't quite make the album, but stuff that I wanted to release anyway. So I think Veins was one of the earlier songs that I made. That was one of the earlier cuts. And then as I kind of developed the sound for the next few songs, the more garage drum and bass feel of stuff, the more melodic trap stuff, I think I kind of just there wasn't really any story in mind. It was more to do with the fact of I wanted to just I just wanted to put something out there that people can make their own interpretation on.
Yeah.
And I think the title Words That Don't Exist, you kind of make up your own explanation for that, because words that don't exist can mean anything. It could be the words that you don't have to express to a loved one, or it could be words that you don't have to express to your boss, or to your sister, your brother, your siblings, your family. It could be to someone that you never got a chance to say goodbye to properly. The album is up for interpretation, and I try not to give an interpretation as much as I can, because whilst what I thought when I was writing the album could be different to someone else who is listening to the album. And I feel like if I give away what I was writing or what the main sort of influence was, you're kind of left sort of thinking, well, if he was writing about that, then that's obviously what it's about. Whereas, like Losing Control, that could be about anything. You could be losing control of, your work. You could be spiraling out of something else. You could be, again, family issues, relationship issues. And it's the album itself is a collection of songs that mean a lot to me, but also sonically sound cohesive and the perfect follow-up to an album that did wonders for me in my solo career. Because I think if I hadn't released this one, I don't think I'd be creating the album that I'm working on now.
Okay.
So it swings and roundabouts. I had to bash this album out to get to the one that I really wanted to make, and this album is very. It's very the new album itself. I know we'll get to it later, but the new album is very personal to me. It's got a head of tracks on there that are like, shit, is he really like talking about this? Yeah. All in all, that's how it came to be.
No, I mean it's what I like about the record is that it's definitely, I feel like it's almost, I don't know if you'll agree, but I think it comes across as your most polished work to date as well. As in, like,
100%.
it's very meticulously crafted, and I think what it does is, maybe this is why I find it to be the most emotive album, or the most, as I say, personal. It's most emotive, really. Is maybe the polish gives it that extra sort of crunch and punch to. It's got really heavily aggressive moments on it that just work wonderfully. I couldn't ever perform in a way that comes out that way. Do you know what I mean? It's just so good. A song I love on it as well. I love the song Phantom Lover, which comes right near the end of the album. That's a wonderful track. Just tell me the influences around the album and around that track. Like, what was influencing the sound? I know we might not go so much into the interpretation because we don't necessarily want to reveal it based on what you just said. But like, what were the influences surrounding this record? What made that sound come to be?
I think a lot of it was, I was in a bit of a lonely period. I think I wanted to put out something that was a bit more poignant and less clubby. you know, cuts like Secrets, which came out in 2022, is like a throwaway song, but the song was too. It was too good not to include. I had to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then with Phantom Lover, you know, like I said, I don't want to go too much into detail, but I had a girlfriend the year prior to writing that song, and she, like I said, I won't go too much detail, but it ended badly, and it kind of felt like, you know, she was a phantom here, there, everywhere, and then you go from being with that one person to knowing that you're actually together to then being complete strangers again and just exiting your life. You know, the lyric, like a whisper in the air, something chasing shadows. You know, basically, I'm wanting you back. I'm trying to be in your shadow. I'm trying to stay there, but you obviously don't want me to be, which is okay. But the album, I think, sort of the first single from this was Broken Heart, and obviously that's more of the club stuff, but. Yeah, I just feel like the album it's got more grit to it. It's more.
That's a word I look to use.
Yeah, it's got grit, man. And when I listen to it back all the way through, you know, the opening track through to One More Try, I just feel like the album. It's open to interpretation, man. Like you can make up your own. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, I don't want to give too much away. I know I'd be very vague about it, but the album itself was. It was just. I was in a gritty period, and I needed to get a lot off my chest, and I think that's where it came from. That's the child that
it feels like it. Yeah, it feels like it. It comes across that way. It feels like there's a. It's almost like someone who just goes into a boxing ring, not because they want to box, but because they just want to get hit. They want to get hurt. They want to feel that pain and just absorb it and feel strong because of it, if that makes sense. It feels like one of them. Just get it out, get it done, you know, make it have loads of aggression, loads of grit, as you say. And that's just the emotion it exudes. And that's the success of the album, is that it does that. And that's why it works so well. So obviously this album came out, and it's, as I say, it's the most polished work. It felt like a triumph when I listened to it for the first time. I listened to it on the day it came out. It felt like an absolute triumph. And then we get, not too long afterwards, really, we get a single that comes out, and this is when FUMEZ comes into the picture a bit. And the song's called Hurts. It's a wonderful song as well. Congratulations on it. Firstly, so we both know FUMEZ. If people don't know the podcast too well, FUMEZ has been a guest on my podcast multiple times. We always support his work as we support anyone else he asks us to support. We will support their work as well on this podcast. And we actually got in touch through FUMEZ as well, myself and Evolution. So can you tell us where the relationship started first, and then we'll get more into the song?
Yeah, I think so. With FUMEZ, it was a very sporadic journey. So, like, you know, I think one of us followed each other. I think he followed me. We sent a couple of messages back and forth. And then one time he sent me this message saying, "Oh, this guy's looking for podcast guests." And I was like, I looked at the message on my phone, and I was like, do I trust this? Do I not? And I'm like, well, it seems legit, because a lot of people want to promote you, but they want a fee for it, and I'm very dubious. Like, if you're going to charge me for something, I don't want to know. Like, I'm broke anyway. Like, I do what I do because I can do it myself. That's why I do it. I'm saving money.
I get those people to promote the podcast. It happens. It's not. It's not a nice idea. You can do it yourself.
No,
you don't need
it's
them.
not. So obviously he sent the message, and I was like, you know what? Let's contact you. And I was like, right, let's do it. So I think a few back and forths, you know, he was talking about phase 2, he was promoting phase 2, and I was like, you
Yeah.
know, this guy seems genuine. I'll promote him,
Mm.
he'll promote me, and yada yada yada. And I think a few months back he gave me his private number, and I was like, right, okay, let's just chat, let's see what happens. And to be fair, he's done a lot of wonders for me personally. Like, because he's like so much older than me. Well, I'll say so much, but he's 31. But because he is older than me, he's been around since like the noughties, like when MySpace was a thing.
Mm.
And obviously he was in the era of like MySpace, your music being on MySpace, and obviously he knows a lot more about cassettes, CDs, vinyl, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was creating, I was producing Hertz. I was thought this needs something, but I don't know what it needs. So obviously I sent it, obviously because we sent messages before, like I said.
Yeah.
But I sent him the recording. I was like, "What do you think of this? Let me know, and I will." Just get back to me. And I was like, "No, I like this. Like, let me spit something." And actually, I think, to be fair, I think another song that he features on the album, which I'm not announced yet, he features on it with his South System project. And it was actually that one that we collabed on first. But I was like, you know what? If I do this, then it's 2 features, but technically with 2 are different artists, but they sort of interlock, they interlap.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, this really takes me back to like the old school garage scene, like in the early noughties. I was like, you know what? He's from that era. I love garage music. I love that genre. So I thought, you know what? I'll spit a verse. He'll spit a verse. I'll mix it all together. Bish bash bosh. 800 streams later, Hertz exists.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is I'm so glad you said that, because I was going to mention this with the EP when we talk about that in a little bit. Honestly, all I hear is this huge influence from UK garage, and I was going to say it, but go out on a limb and be like, you might be like, no, I'm sorry, but the fact you said it proves me right at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you go on, carry on.
I was going to say a lot of the early noughties trance house and the more 2014, early 2010 style house, like the piano house, the pure deep chill house. A lot of that is my favorite genre. I love listening to it. If you look at my light songs, a lot of my songs are house bangers, either remixes or they're re-releases, and I love the genre.
Yeah.
I love house. And yeah, just that genre alone, it's uplifting. The beats are catchy. The melodic content's there. It's just, it enables me to be so creative. I can just, I can make, if I wanted to, I can make a whole house album and it wouldn't sound boring to me. So
yeah. No. Honestly, you hear these influences so much throughout your music, and Hertz is one of those songs where it's worn heavy on your sleeves, I think, with these influences. And yeah, I one thing I love about it is that both of you have such a distinct style as well, to the way you perform, the way you rap, and the way you just you know, as you say, the way you spit. It's literally that. It's like it's so distinct, and that's what I love about it. It is like sometimes I listen to a song and I hear a feature and I can't actually tell who's you know, performing at that time. Like, I generally can't. With you two, straight away easy to know. Like, it's so easy to know because you're so distinct in both of you in the way you do it. But yeah, can you tell us more about the song then, and how this, obviously what the song's actually, if you're happy to, what the song's about, and the themes behind this one?
Hertz. The reason why it's called Hertz is because the vocal hook that I'd used from Splice, it just worked. It was simple. There's no real meaning to it. I mean, the verse is very, you know, I'm a party to the AM. I'm a rave to my heart's content. I'm a perform and do what I love to the day I die. And he infuses, so bringing it back to an old school boot. Can I get a reload from the DJ, please? You know, basically what he's saying is, reload it as many times as I need to until the fans get bored of it. And even if they don't get bored of it, I'm still playing the song until I'm 50, 60, maybe even 70. It just slaps. It really does. Like, I'm being modest because it's my music, but anything that I touch, people can disagree with this, but again, anything I touch, I don't put out crap. I put out stuff that sounds good. And if people vibe with it, then great, sound. But if you don't, take your hate, put it in the bin because it's not needed. But the song is so catchy, and
Yeah.
The lyric, it only hurts when you're saying things I know you don't mean, and I can make something work if you ain't working with me. It's just a banger. I can't lie.
Yeah. Well, this is what I quite like what you said there, because it's like, for a lot of people won't realize, they just think the songs they hear is pretty much what the artist has written, but they don't hear all the discarded ideas, everything that's gone, every failed project, some of them at completion that just don't get heard, and things like that. And artists like to put out what they believe is the best stuff they can put out. They don't like to put out the rubbish.
Yeah.
And that's why I think you're so right when you talk about the hate. It's like, it's not needed, because you've already been harsh on yourself to stop yourself releasing things, or to go, you know what, I've got to finish this idea, it's not going to work, I've got to cut it loose, like, it's just not going to work. Like, they don't understand that that's not easy to do, because
No, it's not.
you love everything you create, but you have to, it's coming to the realization that the thing you love that you created might not actually be at the level of the standard that you actually aspire it to be at, basically.
I think for me, if I don't vibe with it, then I can't imagine somebody else doing it. Like, if I'm not proper like in the zone when I'm making it, I can't see people liking it, and I don't want to release half high. Like, I've built a name for myself now. People are expecting premium products. People are expecting premium songs. So I release half-hearted stuff. That's me gone in the trash. Gone. Bye. See ya. You give up.
Exactly.
But because I've released 2 successful albums back to back, the third one, like the 9th rather.
Yeah.
You see where I'm coming from.
It's got to be at a point. Yeah. Well, let's as we move ever closer to the album, Hertz is on your latest EP, which is pretty much the newest thing you've got out, and that's For Those Who Care. Now, as I say, it's the leading track on the EP, Hertz, featuring FUMEZ, but you have got 3 other tracks on there. Very UK garage influence, as we mentioned before. Can you tell us more about how this EP came around, why it was released, etc.?
Yeah, so the EP is actually a taster of what you're going to hear on the rest of the album. It was more so to bridge the gap between the back end of this year and the beginning of next year, because the next single, which is November 29th, is the title track, Crime Hearted Love. That's the name of the album as well. So I'm actually going away this weekend, and the official video is getting recorded. So you'll see that on day of release.
Super.
So the EPs are like a service zone. So Ferrari and White Dress were not throwaway tracks. I mean, they would have been strong enough as singles, but I felt like I've released 2 singles, or I've released 2, then I'm going to release a taster, sorry, just to get you a bit of what you can expect, like White Dress, drum and bass, pure liquid drum and bass, Ferrari, proper slap house. But yeah, For Those Who Care, it doesn't really have meaning. It's just I just thought the title was catchy. That's literally what it is. And I just thought, you know what, get this out there. I'm probably not going to obviously Crime Hearted Love November 29th, and then in December I'm probably going to take a break releasing anything from the album, get more of the behind the scenes stuff where so the CDs, it's going to be on CD like I mentioned. But yeah, I feel like I'm kind of jumping the gun a bit.
No, don't worry, carry on.
But yeah, the new album, oh my god, because a lot of it I've been sending to FUMEZ, and he's been saying, right, if you change this, do this. And like I said, with track 2 and what is track 2 on the album, because it features his group South System, he had a lot of input into the like the arrangement side of things. So he was very like, well, if you come in, do a little bridge, then you come in, then have a hook, have the drop, and then they come in, hook, drop, and then hook again, or melodate, what you want to call it, and then drop again, and then hook. He helped me structure it to a point where it flowed better. And like I say, I don't think I'd have come up with that structure if he hadn't helped me out, because
Yeah.
whilst I can structure songs, I'm not as good as making stuff flow sometimes, and it takes somebody else's idea to make a song a reality. And I'm glad he had
Yeah.
creative input on it as well, because the song is really like, it's proper good.
So, coming up to the new album then, which I assume is going to be released early next year. Is that the case?
I'm aiming to, yeah, early
Yeah.
2025. We're looking between maybe March and April.
Super. So, obviously, there's a lot more collaboration going on here with this new record,
Yeah.
and you have got closer to FUMEZ in doing so, but also you got South System on the record as well. You're someone who's had frequent collaborators across all your recordings, to be honest. Well, not all your recordings, all your albums. So there's been collaborators around. Yeah, let's go a bit into what it's like to collaborate with people. What's the benefits of collaborating with people? Where how does it sort of make your music better than what it would have been without, if that makes sense?
I think the benefit is you're kind of getting seen by two different audiences. So like I say, for Hertz, FUMEZ is very, old school rap, boom bap type stuff, very old school, old school rap, hip hop.
Yeah.
So he's got quite a lot of people that he's known through the years. And for someone like me, 24, near enough 25, who's come from a more dance era.
Yeah.
To fuse the two together, you kind of get a happy medium with two different artists, with two distinctive sounds, but they come together and they make this cohesive fusion, is the term I'm going for. And like I say, the benefits of collaborating for me, it's like I say, you're getting seen by two different audiences. The collaborator that I'm collaborating with, their fans are seeing the stuff they're putting out, but they're also seeing a whole new person release something else. And in a way, it grows you as an artist, it grows you as a person. I've not collaborated with too many people, but the 3-4 that I have on the albums, it's worked out. I mean, I've not collaborated with many vocalists or rappers, but there are other collaborations. So like on Bad Wolf, not Bad Wolf, my mistake. The Not Made History, Fall of You. I've got my mate playing guitar, and I've got one of the guys from uni I went uni with vocalising. But that's just a different way of collaborating. They had an idea, they got in the booth, I let them record it, I then did that, and then one played the guitar, and it just worked.
Yeah.
But like I say, the benefit is you're working with people, you get seen by more people, and the more people that see, the more you grow, and it's constant success in my eyes. And I strive to be the best.
Yeah, it almost feels like when you're speaking that the collaboration you're having now is a very different type to the collaboration you've had in the past as well. And that's not just including FUMEZ, that's including the rest of South System and anyone else, I assume, on the record as well. Do you feel like as you grow as an artist yourself, you just get better at knowing what you need / want, or better at knowing, better at knowing what you can get out of a collaboration yourself as well?
Yeah, I think a lot of what I wanted when I was like 16 or 17 was to collaborate with people. Like I wanted people to, teach me, but at the same time be like, look, if you do this will work, and if you do it this way. I wanted to create music with more people, and I feel like with FUMEZ, we're not just collaborators, we are decent friends. Like the guy took my files, made them reality. Like he's burnt all the discs for the new album. Like literally, I've got them sat here right on my desk. I'm in the process of getting cases made up for the album for the physical media, so you'll be getting a copy.
You're so kind. So
I had you in mind. FUMEZ, yourself, a couple of my loved ones and my friends, personal friends, and then I'm planning to get like a batch, of say 100 to like 200, and just give them out plastic wallets. Like just get discs made up and give them out. Just like, look, follow me here, follow me there. It's just to get the album out.
Yeah.
But yeah, the album is a lot of the production game on this album specifically, it all joins up. So like track 1 will lead into track 2, like sonically, like we're talking one ends, the other begins. And then the same with track 13 and 14, they mix together. So one ends the back of that, then tail ends into the beginning of that one, and it's just so surreal to be able to do that, because I like an album that sonically mixes in together and certain tracks that blend together. So like, I'm just trying to think of any examples that sort of are out there. No, I can't think of any. But no, it's Crime Hearted Love. You know, it's basically about the way I see a Crime Hearted Love is basically you've got this heart made of chrome, but as it chips away, you're left with the pure heart, the pure energy that you give someone.
Yeah,
and it's a facade. So the chrome, think of it like a action figure or like on a car. As time goes on, general wear and tear will break down the chrome.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor. It's a play on words, but yeah. I can't wait to release this album.
Well, yeah, you sound like you're genuinely in sort of like on cloud 9 when it comes to the album. So you said it's more personal this time, yeah?
100% without a doubt.
Yeah. Obviously you don't have to elaborate fully, and you don't have to elaborate at all if you don't want to. But can you just give us a little bit more detail about how it's more personal and what that means to yourself as well?
So one example was the last track. So I was seeing this girl over the summer, and whilst we ultimately never fully proper ended up together, she still meant a lot to me. She still does to this day.
Yeah.
It was more, it didn't work out because we both had things going on, more so on her side than me, but I don't resent her at all for that.
Yeah.
I just struggled to come to terms with it. And as I was writing the song, you've got to read the lyrics very, very carefully to get what the verse spells. But if you look at it very closely, the verse spells her name. So if you can guess the lettering of that, you might be able to guess her name. But that's if you're very clever at looking at the letter of each line and how it begins.
Yeah.
But tracks like, White Dress, that's more so, like I say, it can be construed in multiple ways. But the way I saw White Dress was, you're standing at the altar and you're about to marry the person that you love. So obviously in my instance, it would be my future girlfriend. We're at the altar, I see you standing in that white dress, I confess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, just a lot of the album is more melodic, which I do like doing. I do like being melodic. I do like trying to sing a basic hook. It's not the best.
Yeah.
I won't say I'm a good singer. I won't say I'm no Celine Dion or no Sam Smith, but with the right auto-tune and the right sense, I can hold a note. But yeah, like I say, the album it's done basically. Like I say, there might be one or two tracks I include on the digital version, but there's no guarantees. But yeah, it's
I'm glad you said that it's more melodic, because my favorite songs of yours tend to be the ones where you actually do some melodic singing as well. I love that, because it's a mixture of two worlds for me, because obviously I listen to music predominantly singing, but again, in my record collection, I have got quite a bit of hip hop and things. I've got some Doom and things like that. I love MF Doom, love the guy. So I've got stuff like that. So I do have some. So for me, it's like a mixture of two different worlds, of two different styles of performing, kind of to get the same output because it's both using words, isn't it? But
Yeah.
I just love that, and it always resonates with me when an artist can do both,
Yeah.
and does it in the same track. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing that. And this is the first, you've mentioned it already, but this is the first album you've got that's going to be on physical media, isn't it?
Media. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, this kind of goes back to me and FUMEZ collaborating. So a lot of what he's taught me in regards to like CDs and how to make the templates, he's taught me. He's basically, you know, said, oh, why don't you do this? Why? And he's shown me different ways and avenues that I can go down. So, you know, like I say, he's printed the discs, he's put the music on there, he's put the tracks on there. So literally, the records, the first like 10 copies, they're ready to go for the people that are getting a copy. You know, that's myself included, because obviously you got to keep a copy of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You got to have your
but
own.
obviously, like you, FUMEZ, Self System. Well, I say Self System, but FUMEZ because he's part of that, so he'll get a copy. And a handful of loved ones. But end of the day, as a kid, it was always my dream to have. Well, even when I was 17, it was always a dream to have my album on CD, to have it on physical media. And a lot of what we've done behind the scenes between me and FUMEZ, we've actually put a lot of my stuff on disc OGs.
Yeah.
So basically, anytime say like you type in Evolution Mistakes and Perfect, it'll come up with the album. So like I've got up there somewhere, I've actually got the only version of the deluxe. It's not even on streaming platforms. That's the only version of the deluxe you have. That's the only version. That's the only copy on physical media over there. Will I release it on streaming platforms? I don't know. You know, the album did wonders on its own without needing those extra tracks. Most of it's remixes anyway that didn't make the light of day. But yeah, like I say, you'll get a flavour of what Chrome Hearted Love means when the new single drops and the new video drops.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And like I say, I'm working behind the scenes to get the first like 10 to 11 copies on physical media. Where I know it's a small batch, but it's enough to get started.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and as I will say, as I do for all artists, that obviously you're sending me one, so I'm incredibly thankful. I will run mega amounts of promo with that CD for you, as I did with Jane Marie. Previous artists sent me some, and I have done with Eric Reno and with FUMEZ, etc. So I will make sure I run loads of promo for you out to my followers so they can see it as well. I think we should. The last thing I think we should address today, because there's been a lot going on, and this also involves FUMEZ, and we can talk about it because it's been released to radio. Myself and you have actually been on a track together.
Yeah, 100%.
Feels mental because I mean, yes, okay, I do play guitar, I do sing, and I do write, but I don't do that publicly, really, apart from a couple of open mic nights I've done in the past. So it feels a bit mental to be on a track with artists. But yeah, tell the audience. I won't say it. You can tell the audience more.
Yeah. So obviously, FUMEZ came to me and was like, "Yo, you know, because I collaborated in one of yours, do you want to collaborate on one?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I can return the favor. I really want to. Like, I've always wanted to feature on somebody else's album." And he gave me the beat to sit in. At first, I wasn't sure because it's not my jam. Like honestly, I've not told him this. So if you've seen this, mate, I'm sorry about the initial reaction to this. But I was like, I don't know. But the more I listened to it, I was like, let me spit something, and I'll see what I can do. So obviously, like, I came up with what I did, and then he said, obviously sent back the verse, and he obviously mixed it together. He said, "Oh, guess the special guest I got on this." I said, "Well, who is it?" He said, "Guess." I said, "I don't know. Is it somebody else that we know? Is it?" He said, "Oh, maybe you'll find out when it's announced tomorrow." And he said, "Oh, you." And then I woke up the next morning, and like I said, I was on my phone, and he said, "You be check FUMEZ tags you in the past." I was like, "All right, okay, that's cool." So it must be getting promo, and I was like, "Hang on a minute, that's frigging." Because I heard the track beforehand, I couldn't pinpoint who was in the beginning, and it was like, well, hang on, that's Dan, that's Mr. Fishbowl. I'm like, what the actual hell's going on? I was just shocked, and obviously, like, you've got, you know, Charlie Jane on there, and you've got, you know, PJ Vice, and then me, you, and then FUMEZ. But yeah, like, and obviously it was playing on the radio a few months back, and I was just like, 2024 has actually been a mad year for me. Like at the beginning of the
Yeah.
year, I had over 800 monthly listeners, like without releasing barely anything.
Yeah.
And then as the year's just gone on, it's just been mental. I've done,
Yeah.
and obviously that's not the only track I appear on. You see, I appear on like 3
Yeah.
or 4 others, and it's like,
Yeah.
what is going on?
We're both appearing on multiple tracks somehow.
Yeah,
I say not somehow for you. The somehow is for me. but you know, mine's all spoken word.
yeah,
Mine's all spoken word, but yours is obviously, you know, you are rapping on these songs, and
yeah,
the city. I love that song, and it does sound amazing when you like. I said this to Fumes, having the different artists have the individual sections to themselves. When the next one kicks in, it's just like a big slap in the face to you again. Bam! Oh, whoa! And you suddenly,
yeah,
you suddenly it just keeps that track having that punch that it's got the whole way through. Yeah, it's a great track. I thought we should mention that anyway,
yeah,
just
100%.
because it's the two of us together and we're both on
Yeah,
the track. And I think it's absolutely bizarre that I'm on a track with all you guys. So I just felt like I had to. But yeah, so you got so much happening. So for the audience to wrap up here, you've got the last album to listen to, you've got the EP to listen to, and you've got the new album coming, which I'm really looking forward to. Is there anything else that you'd like to just let people know about things up and coming for yourself?
yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of visualizations. There's going to be loads of videos next year.
Yeah.
I'm aiming to, you know, keep up the same momentum. You know, if for whatever reason we get onto album 10 next year and we release it, that's great. But don't be expecting a new album anytime soon after the next one, because I think I'm a bit burnt out, man.
Yeah, you've done so much. So much has happened in the last 6 months for yourself. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't blame you to have a year break.
Yeah,
I wouldn't blame
I
you.
mean, like, you know, I'm not against releasing the odd song here and there, like to keep up the want and the desire, but I need to really go back to the drawing board and think of a new concept, because I feel like I'm digging myself, I'm running myself into the ground here.
Yeah, no, I get that. I take breaks on the podcast for similar reason, just to let me recharge as well. There's also that, is letting yourself recharge. You're putting yourself out into public eye, and people don't realize you're doing that. And even if like you don't get hate or anything like that, it's still the worry of the fact that you're doing it is always there, isn't it? So
Yeah,
it kind of just gives yourself that break, knowing that you haven't got to do it for a while is quite nice.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no, definitely. Do you want to let the audience know, Evolution, where they can find you online? Obviously, I will link all of this anyway in the description, so people can find it quite easily. But do you just want to let them know anyway, so they can hear it as well?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Evolution Music UK, TikTok under the same name. You can find me on YouTube, Evolution. I've now got an official artist page, so every release that I've ever released is now under one umbrella, under one roof. So you can type in it, say like Evolution Mistakes of Perfume, and the album will pop up on my YouTube channel rather than going to someone else's. And yeah, you can just find me on the internet. Just type in Evolution Mistakes of Perfume, and it'll come up with an article that was written about me and everything. So yeah,
super nice and easy. I'll put all links and things anyway in the description below for people, so they can find that nice and easily. Obviously we'll wrap up after the podcast anyway, after I click end recording. But a huge thank you to you, Evolution, for coming on again. Trusted guest and friend of the podcast. Obviously you are always welcome whenever. But
thank you.
Absolutely huge thank you. I'm really excited. Well, congratulations on everything this year, but also I'm really excited for what's coming next year.
Thank you, appreciate that, means a lot.
Yeah, no worries.